Hello and welcome to grammar class. Today's topic is state verbs and dynamic verbs. As you know, a verb is a word that denotes an action or a state of being. In English grammar, there are broadly two types of verbs. If a verb denotes the state or condition of the subject in a sentence, it's called a state or stative verb. For example, John is happy. In this sentence, the verb is, which is a form of verb be, shows the condition or state of the subject John. So this verb is indicates the happy condition or mood of John. That's why such a verb is called a state or stative verb in English grammar. On the other hand, if a verb indicates an action or an event or a process in the sentence, it's called a dynamic or event or action verb. For example, in the sentence John is playing, the verb is playing indicates an action or activity performed by the subject John. Hence, it's a dynamic or action verb. So now it's clear that a stative verb does not indicate an action or activity by a person or thing. In fact, a stative verb may express one of these four things. Number one, a condition or a quality. Number two, a perception. Number three, a mental or emotional state. And also a relationship or ownership. And since a stative verb denotes one of these four things and no action or activity, it's not used in a progressive tense. In other words, a state verb is not used in the ing form or present participle form. Now see some examples of state verbs on your screen. In the sentence, you are very intelligent, the verb are, which is a form of verb be, indicates the quality or condition of the subject you. In the next sentence, the verb remained also indicates a state or condition of the subject he. Obviously, this verb remained does not indicate any action or activity. It shows a prolonged condition of the person. In the sentence, I hear a strange noise, the verb hear is a verb of perception. Hearing means perceiving a sound through a sense organ. So all verbs of perception are stative verbs. The rose smells sweet. Smells is also a verb of perception. We perceive a smell through a sense organ. Hence, smells is also a state verb. Then in the sentence, I love my country, the verb love indicates an emotion. It's an emotional state. Hence, love is also a stative verb. Do you believe in God? In this sentence, the verb believe denotes a mental state, a way of thinking. Hence, it's also a state verb. Now consider the sentence, I own an imported car. In this sentence, the verb own denotes ownership or possession. Hence, it's a state verb. And finally, in the sentence, you have a brother, the verb have shows a relationship, so it's also a stative verb. As I said earlier, since a stative verb does not indicate any action or activity, it cannot be used in a progressive tense. For example, in the sentence, I am hearing a strange noise, the stative verb here is used in the present continuous tense. So, am hearing is a wrong use here and the correction is I hear a strange noise. Up next, we have linking verbs. There are some state verbs which are followed by either an adjective or a noun or a phrase, acting as its complement. Now, this complement of the state verb not only completes the sense of the sentence but also describes the subject of the sentence. So we see that such a stative verb links or connects the subject of the sentence with the complement. And hence, such state verbs are known as linking verbs. While the complement that describes or identifies the subject is called the subjective complement. For example, in the sentence, Bob is lazy, the stative verb is also a linking verb. Why? Because it connects the complement lazy with the subject Bob in this sentence. The complement lazy is describing the subject Bob here. Similarly, the stative verb tastes is linking the complement sweet with the subject honey, so it's also a linking verb in the second sentence. Similarly, the stative verb seems links the complement strong with the subject he. In the next sentence, likes is a state verb which links the complement my company with the subject John. And in the last example, the state verb deserved is connecting the phrase to win with the subject he. So no doubt all these stative verbs are also linking verbs. Now we know that a dynamic or action verb denotes an action. So it's used in continuous tenses. But a state verb is not used in progressive tenses because it does not show any action. It indicates a condition or state. However, there are some state verbs that are used in progressive forms with a different meaning, in a different context. I mean, when a state verb is used in a continuous tense, it becomes a dynamic verb because it conveys a different meaning. To put it simply, there are some verbs which can be used both as a state verb and as a dynamic verb. For example, in the sentence, I have a pet dog, verb have means possess, so it's a stative verb. But in the sentence, I am having my dinner, having shows an action, it means eating, so it's a dynamic verb. In the next example, weigh means to have the weight off. It shows a condition, so it's a stative verb. But in the following sentence, the same verb is used in the present continuous tense. Here it means measuring the weight off, so it's showing an action and it's a dynamic verb. Then in the sentence, he looked tired, the verb looked means appeared, so it's a stative verb. Now see the last example. Here the same verb look is used in the past continuous tense with the preposition into. Here it shows an action. It means investigating. So it's a dynamic or action verb here. So it's clear when certain stative verbs are used in progressive forms, they have a different meaning and context. So they become dynamic or action verbs. But make no mistake, this is not true of all stative verbs. There are some stative verbs which are always stative and are not used in continuous tenses. Although most verbs in English are dynamic or action verbs, there are 4 types of state verbs. Number 1, state verbs of condition or quality. Number 2, state verbs of perception or senses. And then state verbs of mental or emotional state. And finally, state verbs of possession or ownership. Examples of each type are provided on your screen. Stative verbs of condition include be, remain, weigh, consist, contain, etc. See, hear, feel, smell, taste, seem, appear, look, sense, sound are some examples of state verbs of perception. Stative verbs of emotional or mental state include love, hate, like, forget, remember, know, feel, recognize, think, understand, etc. And we also have stative verbs of possession or ownership like have, own, owe, belong, deserve, and so on. That's the end of today's class. I hope you liked the video. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more grammar videos. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end.